Alright guys, I had a bunch of people ask me about my Burning Totem build, and they had a bunch of questions about iterations and things that they could do. So I posted a part 3 of this build, and I think that it's kind of like really good the way it was, and I was really happy with how it performed. But a bunch of people were asking questions about things like, can it be used on different classes, how things you should set things up, time lost diamonds, all that kind of stuff. And I figured I would just make a quick video showing that you can just do this on a budget if you want to, and it still works totally fine. I switched it around to the budget version and did max tier simulacrum with it with no problem at all, so I'm sure you could too. So I just figured I'd make a quick video giving you guys a breakdown of how to set it up on the budget version, and I enjoy playing the budget version of this just as much as I enjoy playing the expensive version, and I'm sure you will too. So the changes for the budget version are really simple, so I'll just give you a quick rundown here. All right, guys. So I had a bunch of questions about skill tree and that kind of thing and stuff that you could do. And the first thing I'll tell you is that I had a few people ask me, can I set this up on a different class of warrior? And absolutely, you can set this up on a different class of warrior. This is going to perform just as good and maybe even better on a class that's not a smith. Okay, so you could set this up on a Titan or a Warbringer, and honestly, it's probably going to be even stronger. The only thing that the Smith has that's nice is it's more budget because you get all these passives with your armor, and this resists with your class. So this is a nice ascendancy for that. But if you wanted to do it on a Titan or a Warbringer, you're going to get way more damage on a Titan. You're going to get more defense on a Warbringer. So either way you want to set it up, it's going to be totally fine. Titan is going to be like maximum damage. So if you wanted to run maximum damage, you could run this on a Titan. But I made a couple of quick little edits to this because I switched to this shield. And this is the budget version. So before I was using this expensive shield, this Chernobog's Pillar shield. So this is an expensive shield, and it gives you a nice boost of damage when you have this shield. And that's great, and that's fine, but you really don't need this at all. I was just using it because I liked it and it gave me a little bit of a damage boost, but I also like this shield just as much. This shield gives me a bunch of HP and a bunch of resists that I don't get with the other one. So I get more HP and more resists with this shield. So that's why I prefer using this one. And the chaos resistance really isn't that important. The max elemental resistance is way more important, honestly. So I like this shield just as much as this shield. I have no problem with it. And this is like a 2 Exalted Orb shield. This is like a 30 Divine shield. And this is like a 2 Exalted Orb shield. And I like this one just as much. I have literally no problem using this one. If you're playing on like a Titan or a Warbringer, you could maybe swap this out for something better. But if you're playing on a Smith, this maximum fire res and fire resistance is really strong. And if you pick up one with 2 sockets, you can throw a couple of socketables into it for HP. So whatever socketables you want to put in there, HP soul cores or whatever, I just put a couple of cheap runes in it. So if you want to put the runes, you can. They work totally fine. And the regen is really nice on the shield. So this is a great cheap option. If you want a great cheap option shield, there's really nothing wrong with this. Like I said, I did max tier simulacrum with this. It works totally fine. It's great for clearing. The regen's really nice. This is a super fine shield to use. As far as changing the skill tree around, I moved some points, so you'll be able to check the max roll for that. So this was a time lost diamond before, but the only reason I had a time lost diamond here was because I was getting max res from these nodes. Max fire res, which gave me max lightning and cold res. So I just swapped that out for just a regular damage jewel. And it was just a fire, mace damage, life regen, totems, placement speed. This was like 2 Exalted Orbs. Like this is dirt cheap. So you could just buy like a bunch of these. You don't even need like any fancy jewels. You don't need like this megalomaniac. You don't even need this resolute. This is a cheap jewel anyway, but you could get that. You don't even need it, but it is just nice to have. This is a cheap one. But you could literally just buy a bunch of jewels that look just like this or look just like this. And this is going to perform totally fine. These regular totem damage jewels, mace damage jewels, totem placement speeds, all those jewels are going to work totally fine. I moved a couple of points around by just moving this all up to here because I didn't need it down here. So I took all those excess points and I just rotated them all up into here into totem damage. And I grabbed these on weapon set 2. And this works totally fine. There's nothing wrong with this. It works great. So if you want to run this iteration, this budget iteration, you could totally run this, and it's going to work 100% fine. All you need is a hammer that gets 7 all melee skills, and you're going to be off to the races. So I would recommend this. There's nothing wrong with this. Okay, so the other couple things are just these jewels, the time lost diamond. I'll go into this a little more. You don't need this here if you just want to run this on a budget version. I was only running this because I needed more max res when I was running this shield. You could also run one of these belts if you need max res that way. Basically, you just want to get your resist as high as possible and your HP as high as possible. So you could also use one of these belts if you don't want to use one of these shields. You could use just like a whatever crappy shield and one of these belts to get high res. They'll give you high resists because you'll get the max res from this for a smith if you're running a smith. If not, don't worry about it. But yeah, if you can't find a better shield, just use this one. It's cheap and it's fine. It works totally fine. So yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. And this right here doesn't come up on the max roll properly. So these 2 nodes are on weapon set 1. So that's why you probably don't see these on the max roll. There's like some sort of bug with this like resolute technique from Nothing Diamond. But these 2 are on weapon set 1. This one node right here is on both weapon sets. And these 2 nodes are on both weapon sets. So you just have to watch for that. And then this one's on both weapon sets as well. So you just have to pay attention to this because this doesn't come up on the max roll really well. And I just moved a couple of points around on this max roll for people who want to play like a more budget version of this. The attributes, I'm still running these. It'll help if you're playing like a budget version. I also picked up a bunch of strength for the budget version just because then you have options for more cheap hammers. So this will give you more access to hammers and more maximum life. And having a big health pool in this game feels really good. So I'm just going to max roll this for you guys. And then hopefully that will help if you're playing like a really cheap budget version of this. Oh, and you only need 2 hammers. And you can just move one of your hammers into your second location. So you don't actually have to run 3 hammers like I am. So you could cut out one of your hammers. And until you can afford 2 hammers for your second weapon set, you could just run 1 hammer on your main set and get by with just this until you can afford a second one. And like these hammers they're pretty cheap. They're like 1 divine. So just run like a few rounds of Trials of Chaos until you get a divine orb, and you could easily buy 2 hammers. Like I bought this hammer for like 10 chaos orbs and this one for like 1 div. So like they're cheap. Yeah, you'll be all right.